So we know that the WNBA, a lot of WNBA players and teams, and especially when it comes to the Phoenix Mercury, are doing whatever the hell they can to try to not even necessarily try to get her. Obviously, Sophie Cunningham, 2 seconds after this quote of "come to Phoenix," are not necessarily trying to recruit her right now. But I think every single player in the WNBA is realizing, like, forget about all the crap that has happened over the last month or so. They're all realizing that we can make our life easier. We can win more with the whole Caitlin Clark stuff. And they've also, every time they're in the arena, there's no abuse. They're just going berserk. I think that there are players and teams, I think every one of them, I'm not sure a lot of them want to go to Indiana. I think there are very, very few players in the WNBA that do not want to play with Caitlin Clark. I'm saying that right now. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are only 25 subscribers off hitting 24.6k, which is our goal by the end of the day. So, if you're even listening to just the way these players are speaking, ironically, some of the things that the players are saying, Christy Sides needs to take note. Isn't Natasha Cloud talking about Caitlin Clark?
And anything, the pace that she plays with during the game, people don't realize how fast she's actually pushing the pace on the offensive end as she's pushing their transition, which push is defenses to be on their heels a lot of the time. I mean, look how fast. It's a simple handoff, a DHO to Alicia Gray, gets her open for an open 3 just simply by her pace, her ability to draw and be the primary focus of defenses. She is willing to pass the ball, and I think that's what makes her so special. She understands that she's going to be the main focus every single night on the court. She's willing to give herself up as a decoy most nights to make her teammates and put them in successful situations.
And you hear that, like that is an all-world point guard. Like you could argue, I genuinely think you can argue that she is way better than Chelsea Gray right now, Natasha Cloud. And Natasha Cloud is also one of the people trying to recruit Caitlin. They play the same position, trying to bring her to Phoenix. But you can even see people competing directly with her are just like, well, wow. And you can even hear some of the important things. And it's like, I think this is where this last line is why so many of these WNBA players are like, no matter what about the crowd stuff, are just really, really appreciating Caitlin Clark herself. And also, I think this is why they want to play with her. This last thing she says.
Pass the ball, and I think that's what makes her so special. She understands that she's going to be the main focus every single night on the court. She's willing to give herself up as a decoy most nights to make her teammates and put them in success.
And that's why, like, when you're looking at the All-Star game, if you're someone that knows basketball, you know that she had the most pressure on her. She was the #1 player in the scouting report for Team USA. Arike was the best player. And even, there are nights where, I've always said this, it's Caitlin Clark's team when it comes to FIFA. It's Caitlin Clark's team, but half the time Aaliyah Boston's going to be best player. And that is like one of the things that I think is so, when we talk about Steph Curry, what's really underrated was the fact that he's cool with being the first option, he's cool with being the second option, he's cool with being the third option, he's cool with setting screens, he's cool with doing all the little things, using his gravity to free up other people, as long as they're going to win. And that's when why it comes Caitlin Clark, is that we saw her in the All-Star game. If Caitlin Clark played on the Liberty, she would probably average 14 and 13. I'm not joking. If you replace Vandersloot with Caitlin Clark, she genuinely could have averaged about 14 and 13. And that's that's not a knock on anyone else. She probably doesn't average the points, but she might average 13 assists and be just the greatest point guard ever. And why the hell would any player, doesn't matter what position you were playing, why would any player, as far as players are concerned, just be like, well, why would we not want to play with somebody who's willing to sacrifice their own numbers to get me free? Like, imagine a WNBA player saying, okay, so I can double my commercial revenue off the court. I can play in front of 20,000 fans every game, home and away. I could have a home court crowd every game. And I have a player on the team that will get me open layups and open jump shots the whole game? Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm telling you, I'm not sure these players want to play in Indiana, but everyone wants to play with Caitlin Clark. So this is Arike on Caitlin.
Played both against Caitlin Clark, with Caitlin Clark at the All-Star game. She has super high praise.
And for people saying, why are people asking about Caitlin Clark? The same reason everyone makes videos about Caitlin Clark. Because it gets more views. And then I don't understand how it's a problem, people talking about Caitlin Clark, but also when people also bring up the point that more people know about Arike Ogunbowale now, more people know about Aja Wilson. So when people are complaining about Caitlin Clark, people are saying, oh, but like, why is it that Caitlin Clark needs to be mentioned? But also complaining about the fact that people the viewers Caitlin Clark are bringing in, they're only there for Caitlin Clark. They're not there for anyone else. So when people are trying to, I don't know, clickbait in people Caitlin Clark and make an entire video or article about someone else, like I've done 100 times on this channel, that's an issue too. It's hypocrisy to complain about both. Like trying to use Caitlin Clark's draw to put on other people there's a problem with that, but then there's also a problem with previously ignoring the WNBA, or because everyone in the media is in the clicks business. Like unless you are being employed by a league or employed by a team, your job is in the click business. So unfortunately, asking them questions about Caitlin Clark is part of the business. But at the same time, I can guarantee you hundreds of thousands of more people know how good Arike Ogunbowale is right now.
For you, calling you the best one-on-one player in the W. What did you learn about her and her game, playing with her and both against her?
And by the way, I don't think anyone is going to walk out of this weekend saying Arike is not the best one-on-one player in the WNBA.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I've been a fan of her since she's been in college. And, we exchanged while she was in college because I just love hoopers. You guys obviously see my game, and I see, a lot of similarities. She knows how to get a bucket. She can create for herself. She can create for her teammates. And I just love her game. And it's fun playing against her. She brings a crowd every time. So I'm definitely going to show up. But playing with her, I kind of just got to pick her brain a little bit and just see how she thinks and just how she moves as a teammate. And she's an amazing player. Indiana's definitely lucky to have her, but that's dope for her. She's told me she's liked me a lot, in college and stuff, but that's dope for her to show that praise, on TV and stuff. So she's one of my favorite players in the league as well.
I so love that she pointed out that at one point, she was supposed to come in and sub for you, and she was like, nah, Arike, she is out there cooking. Yeah. I'm gonna sit here on the bench and let her do her.
And that is again something to show the character of Caitlin Clark. It's like she could have broken her assist record, and she's like, nah, let her cook. Let Arike cook. We're winning this game. We're winning this game. And that's the big thing where it's like Caitlin Clark will do, anytime she's asked a question, a lot of people are like, oh, it is a media trained answer. But like, what do you want her to do other than praise every other player in the league? There is nobody that's praised other players in this league more than Caitlin Clark. So I think a lot of these players are now realizing that when she's in the league, they're seeing what's happening to the league, and they're also seeing their pockets. Like they're seeing it be a case where they're like, okay, crap, I'm making more money now as well. Okay, let's just jump on this train. Let's jump on this train. Yeah, I can be the best player, but like even looking at the games, you cannot, like, you're looking at this play right here. Like, look at the angle of this pass. Like, that is so hard to pass to throw. Again, that's why you live with the turnovers. And also, Caitlin did not have this at the start of the year, by the way. Or maybe she did, but she wasn't using it. We saw her in the last game, was it against Dallas, with all the behind the back dribbles she was doing. Like, everyone was like questioning her handle. The amount of time she was burning people down the floor. But like, this is what we call, like, this is like unbelievable stop-start. ESPN missed this, or ABC. This was not on the broadcast because they were showing a replay. And you can just see how Sabrina's trying to guard her. So she's there. She has a crossover that I've not seen her hit anyone with this year. I've not seen her hit anyone with this crossover. Sabrina's already on her heels right there. And then she pulls it back. Sabrina gets back into defensive position. Maybe a bit of carry, but they're never going to call this. And, oh, she's gone. She's gone. Right to the basket, downhill. Sabrina can't keep up with her. Takes, as she's going into the basket, takes a step a little bit away from the basket. Scoops out so that no one can block her shot. Bang. So it's like her game is getting better. And you can tell that these players are seeing it. You can tell, obviously this is the Phoenix Mercury, but you can tell players are now starting to realize it. Like, if I'm a 2024 free agent or a 2026, or sorry, not 2025. If everyone's a 2026 free agent. Everyone other than rookies is that. If I'm Matt Ishbia, if I'm Joe Tsai, if I'm, Joe Lacob, I think, is that the Valkyries owner? In these CBA deals. And the players wants to have the ability to not necessarily tear up their rookie contracts, but because, let's just say, for example, the rookies that come in 2025 are on 4-year deals at $75K a year. And then rookies come in 2026 are on 4-year deals at $150K a year. Like, they could be, the top picks could genuinely have their salaries doubled. So it's just unfair. I wouldn't be that surprised to see something in it where they can not completely tear up their contracts, but they can tear it up and instantly become a restricted free agent if they want to. So they start entering restricted free agency earlier, sign that 1-year deal, and she could be at Indiana after her 3rd year. So these teams, I think, are starting to, as much as Caitlin Clark is enjoying being in Indiana, we all know that if Indiana remain incompetent as a franchise, she's going to be sick of losing. Like, I think she will deal with one losing year. She hates losing more than she likes being out of cities and near her boyfriend. Like, she's worth however many tens of millions of dollars. Like, she's Caitlin Clark. If she ends up deciding she wants to become a damn Valkyrie, the Warriors will give Conor McCaffrey a job. Conor McCaffrey was a hell of a player. Like, he's not like he's going to be incompetent with most basketball jobs. He'll be competent. But, yeah, it really is interesting seeing an All-Star weekend. But again, you're seeing it that they're trying to... It is blatant tampering. Like, if this was happening in the NBA, it would be tough. But this is the way people talk about Victor. This is the way people have been talking about a lot of these great rookies. And you can see it. You can see it by just the way these players are talking about Caitlin Clark. Especially the Mercury players and the Liberty players. Especially those two. That there are teams that, like... If people thought this was going to be 6 years and there was no chance of getting Caitlin, I think teams might know something. Either way, though, is just a weird conspiracy theory. But you can see from the way players and teams are talking about her that she is not only the real deal, that everyone's saying no one wants to go to Indiana because no one wants to deal with the Caitlin Clark circus. I'm pretty sure getting paid big money, getting paid probably more than you're worth, because Indiana have a history of paying people more than they're worth just to get them there. Getting paid more than you're worth to play in front of packed crowds every week and shoot open shots and open layups. And if you turn off Twitter, you can ignore everything else because none of the fans in attendance are going to be the ones giving you abuse. It's going to be random people on Twitter that aren't watching the games. So, yeah, I'm telling you, if you're willing to delete the Twitter app on your phone, you're a WNBA player, join the Fever.